Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed viewers at home, welcome to another edition of Democracy and the Rule of Law, a show where we delve deep into the critical issues of law, politics, and governance. In today's episode, we'll be looking at two critical issues. First, we will look at the bill seeking to amend the Constitution to introduce independent candidacy into our electoral system. Of course, some people have argued for the pros and cons of this new amendment. Of course, for those who are for the amendment, they have conversed that this amendment will open up the political space for credible candidates to participate in the electoral system. And also, they have also argued that it will also stop the monopoly of political parties in determining the candidates for various elective positions. Of course, this bill have passed the first reading. We'll be x-raying the import of these bills, seeking to know how it affects our political system and political participation as well. Secondly, we'll also look at the judicial reforms. Of course, we all know that the judiciary continues to play an important role in our democratic process. So we'll look at the possible judicial reforms that might be needed in order to bring the judiciary in tandem with modern times. Stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly as we go on a very short break. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are on to your favorite program, Democracy and the Rule of Law. With me in the studio this evening is Barrister Obiora Ume, a respected legal practitioner who has always obliged us his time, whenever we've called. Barrister Obiora Ume, we welcome you to the show this evening.
Thank you very much.
All right, I'm your host, Barrister Kenneth Wimo. So without wasting much time, we'll delve into the nitty-gritty of today's episode. Of course, let us look at the first topic, the recent bill by the House of Representatives, to amend the Constitution in order to allow for independent candidacy. Can you give us a brief overview of this particular bill?
Thank you very much. That bill is a step in the right direction as far as the House of Representatives is concerned, and I believe that in due time, the Senate will also give it a nod. Before now, the position has been that anybody who wants to contest for any political office in Nigeria must belong to a political party. And that has led to decisions that it is the party that wins an election and not an individual. Now, over time, we have had instances where individuals who are desirous of serving this country in one capacity or the other, who belongs to a party but has not been nominated by his party, is denied the opportunity of doing so. We also had instances where there are issues with internal democracies of the political parties. And the position of the court has been that issues that relate to internal democracies of the political parties are internal issues, not meant to be justiciable, except where those issues have to do with the parties themselves going against their own constitution. But now, with the present development, individual candidates will be opportuned to come out and contest, not on the platform of any political party, but just in their individual capacities. And that will entail amendment of the Constitution and the Electoral Act. And then INEC, the governing body, will now get a guideline for the nomination, verification, and screening of the individual candidates, so that it will broaden our democratic process. It will be so that we will not have real democracy where anybody who feels qualified can get the opportunity to do so without necessarily going through a political party. I believe that's a very good step in that direction.
All right. So, of course, so many people want to know what is the main advantage of introducing this independent candidate into the electoral body? Because, of course, we've witnessed elections, even people complain that the ballot papers are usually they're so long, identifying all the various candidates, in an election. Because you see some offices, you might get the ballot paper as long as, because you have almost up to 30 or 50 candidates, with this. So people want to know, what's the main advantage of allowing, independent candidates sponsored by any political
The first and fundamental advantage is that you give the people the right to choose who they want to be their leader. Sovereignty belongs to the people. Where you restrict the choice of people to what the parties can present as their candidates, you are not having full-blown democracy. But when you allow people as individual candidates to contest, it doesn't matter if the contestants are 10 or 100. What is important is that let the will of the masses expressed in their mandate be what happens. Because in that case, the people are now choosing who they believe will give them the proper representation, either at whatever level of political structure. So if we now say because the number of contestants may be so many, so let us just limit it to political parties, discover that we are not actually getting the best. Because what happens is that in most cases it is maybe the highest donor to the political parties that are giving the slots. Somebody who can now get big money, millions or billions, and donate to the party. He becomes a factor, a force to reckon with, and himself or whoever is nominee will now be pushed. The consideration is not as to merit, competence, capability, proficiency, excellence, and all that. Those things are jettisoned. The consideration is how much has he brought to the coffers of the party. And that's not doing our democracy any good. What we need to fix this nation are competent individuals, people who know what they are doing and what they intend to go and do, and they go and do those things. Square pegs in square holes. That's what we need. And if we can get these independent candidates, the nation will be better off for it.
Yeah, wouldn't it be, doesn't it pose a challenge? How would an independent candidate, who obviously would lack the resources that a political party, wields, compete effectively, with candidates coming from a political party?
Now, the issue of an individual candidate coming to contest, and then you have expressing the fear that he may not have resources, indirectly we are looking at money politics where the choice of the people is not determined by their free will but by other considerations, like what happened in the recent election in Edo State, where there were incidences, allegations of vote buying, that people paid as much as 10,000 for the votes of the people. Now, if what you are looking at is, can the individual candidates muster enough finances to be buying votes? Well, I will tell you that is not what we are expecting. Because to start with, money politics that is not by the trust of the people, but who can pay higher, that is not what we want. Because when somebody has paid so much to get to that seat, by the time he gets there, he will expect to steal so much to pay what he has borrowed or collected, and then to also store for himself, his generation, and generations unborn. So if the determinant is who is going to get Ghana must go bags full of money to be dishing out to the masses, that is not what we want in this nation. Yeah, we want a situation where individuals, even if they are not multi-millionaires, so to say, but they have something to offer. Let's give them a chance.
Well, not necessarily buying of votes, goals. But then, of course, we understand that campaigning in a large country like Nigeria takes a lot of funds. Paying agents, who are going to help you to monitor the election. All of the infrastructures that has to go with electioneering involves a huge amount of money. Of course, some people have argued that having an independent candidate who might not really muster the resources would be a waste of time. I
don't share that view. I believe that politics is an open game, and because it is a game that is open to everybody, the Constitution as well as the electoral act say that every man who is qualified is free to contest, and then you are now pigeonholing those who are qualified to test to existing political parties. That means you are circumscribing their rights to contest. Now, it doesn't matter how they go about it. Whoever wants to contest for the presidency of this nation, for example, and believe that he is capable and offers himself to Nigerians and is acceptable across board, then let the masses be the sole determinants of who they want. Let it not be issue of structure. You recall that without necessarily appearing to belong to any group, so to say, I remember that part of the arguments some people had against Labour Party in the past was that they don't have structure.
Yes.
That it cannot go anywhere, no structure. But during the elections, we saw that they made a part in some places without so much structure, in quote. So if individuals who have made their marks in their fields, in their businesses, in the area of operations, come forward and offer themselves, let them be given the opportunity to do so. And it's important that whoever is coming out to contest must be doing a business. There's no reason that is just playing politics. Politics is not business. It's only in Nigeria that you see people that live on politics. And that's some of us have argued that it's necessary to make our National Assembly part-time, reduce the enormous allowances and emoluments and takeaways, and let them be engaged in something to do us a world of good. So if private individuals in their individual capacity can come forward, of course, they will be allowed to test their acceptability, and if the masses say this is the person we want, then let the political parties, and that will reduce what we say these skirmishes. The inter-party, a couple of days ago, one of the political parties had two rival chairmen in one of the states. Yesterday, for example, they had two factions. Then, and the two factions of the same party, they had two different chairmen. And you see, because there are wranglings in these parties, but if you are an individual candidate, those things will not be there. There will be focus.
All right. Okay. So let us move a little bit away from this angle. Let us look at the constitution. What are the constitutional or potential legal or constitutional hurdles, in passing this particular bill?
Well, I don't anticipate constitutional hurdles in the passage of the bill, in the smooth part of the bill. I don't expect any. Reason is this: first, being a Nigerian, and you're an adult, you have the right to vote and be voted for as a citizen of this country. And then the law is aimed at allowing individuals as sole candidates, individual candidates, to participate in elections as contestants.
Yeah, but amending the constitution requires some political consensus, and of course they require a significant number to okay it before it can go to the next level.
Of course, that yes, of course the normal process for the amendment will be done, but the issues are their anticipated hurdles, or because Nigerians have been union for the private candidacy all these years, and some political bigwig Whigs
With the political
have
bigwigs.
tried to stiffen it, but this time around.
But you know, Nigerians are not going to be voting for the bill to pass through. Of course, the political bigwigs already entrenched in these political parties will be the one okaying the bill.
Now, the bills will go to the House of Reps and the Senate. Of course, it passed through the House of Reps, and I believe that because it is the right thing to be done, it obtains in other jurisdictions, other countries. Let it be done here in Nigeria. Now, if the required requisite processes are followed, I don't believe anybody will want to put such a bill. That bill was introduced by Akin Rotimi, yes, and it's a good one. Nigerians, at least most Nigerians, are happy about it. I am happy about it. Not that I'm interested in contesting political office for now, but it will give Nigerians the opportunity to practice democracy in its full sense. Not a situation where we practice what is called democracy, but it's actually not democracy. Because if you look at what we have today, we have diminished participatory democracy. A lot of Nigerians are not participating in politics, in voting especially, because they believe that their votes will not count. But if they have candidates of their choice, whether as individuals, and they want to participate, fine. And of course, when this is done, you discover that the whole thing will, change. Yes. Yeah, okay. New life will infuse into the process.
Okay. Let's move a little bit away from it. Of course, we have treated the issue of political godfatherism here many times.
Yeah.
So do you think, of course, many believe that this introduction of this bill help to curtail the influence or even eliminate the issue of godfatherism? Do you share that line of argument? And if so, why do you feel that having this independent candidacy could at least minimize the influence of fatherism in Nigerian political system?
Well, the issue is, self-evident that over time, one of the bottlenecks we've had in Nigeria, especially in the political arena, is the issue of godfatherism. It's been over time, the bulls and so on, even to recent times, where the surrogates, even what's happening in River State. All these things are evidences of godfatherism. And what does it portend? That the person who is there, find that it is just a mere figurehead. That somebody is controlling him or her. And whoever is there does the bidding of his master. That is the reality. But now, if there are private or individual candidates who are there in their individual capacities, they are not there to do the bidding of any godfather. And that will be a good day for this nation. When, as a governor, the person there is not bound to comply with the directives of his godfather, who may have played a key role in getting him there. As a little, as whatever position he finds himself in the political arena, and there's no godfatherism, the person is free in conscience to perform his duties without fear or favor. But if the godfather is there and he refuses to do the biddings of the godfather, we know what usually happens. The person is pushed to the wall, and that is not good for our polity.
Okay, that's not good for our policy. Of course, you agree with the fact that this...
It eliminates drastically eliminate or diminish or reduce the issue of godfatherism.
All right. We'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll continue on the... Welcome back. You are just joining us. You are on to your favorite program, Democracy on the Rule of Law. Of course, we are discussing the issue regarding the introduction of the bill to allow for independent candidacy in our electoral system. Okay, so...
yes, we are discussing the issue of godfatherism, and the possibility of individual candidacy eliminating the issue of terrorism.
Yeah, of course, an independent candidate, of course, that's an offshoot of...
Yes, and that would be better for the populace, because you discover that in some cases, the God determines what happens, irrespective of whether it is good for the masses or not. But where there's an independent candidate, the independent candidate will be able to do what he believes in the interest of the masses, in the interest of the people. We know the welfare of the masses is the supreme law.
All right.
That's the essence of coming together in the first place.
All right. Let us go through the issue of law. Now, we understand that it is not only the Constitution that governs our electoral processes.
Yeah, the electoral act is also there.
So, obviously, yeah, that has to also be...
Of course, yes. That's why the 1999 Constitution and the electoral act, both of them should be amended, so that as the Constitution is amended to allow for independent candidacy, the electoral act should also be amended, and also the guidelines for INEC, which is the body that is responsible for this. And of course, we also, I believe that in the near future, the National Assembly should also consider the issue of unbundling INEC, so that in as much as they have, issue of registration of political parties for election purposes, let's also be issue of individuals who want to contest for elective offices to have also their own guidelines prepared by INEC, so that they can also have a bite at the cherry.
Yes, that brings me to the issue of how to ensure that there is, there's orderliness, in allowing independent candidates to contest for election. Are there going to be guidelines? Of course, a synopsis of the bill have, I don't know if that will be scrapped out later, but then, because it's still there, that there will be a deposit by the individual, wishing to, come out as independent candidates to the INEC, to guarantee, of course, as a surety that they would get at least 10%, of the total vote cast in the election. And if they don't get up to that, they will forfeit that particular deposit. So how do you, see, because this deposit do not apply to political parties, and it's going to be applied to independent candidates, that they must get at least 10%, of the total vote cast in the election.
Yes, you see, the bill is still in its infancy, and before its full passage, and then before it is signed into an act, there will be amendments. Yeah, because the issue of asking individual candidates or private candidates to deposit money as a condition to be allowed to contest, and then to garner a particular number or percentage of votes, failing which they forfeit the money, is not really a democratic process. It's not a democratic practice. Somebody wants to contest. You're not saying that if he doesn't get a particular number of votes, he'll forfeit the money. In the issue of candidates or political parties, do they make such demand? The answer is no. Now, if the political party presents a candidate and the candidate did not garner up to 10%, 15%, or whatever percentage of the votes cast, does that make the party to pay any money by way of penalty? The answer is no. So why would that now apply to individuals who want to contest in their individual capacities? It should be fair. There should be no discrimination of any sort. Because if you are introducing that, you are saying that there is discrimination against private candidates. And the law says there should be no discrimination. Okay. There should be fairness, there should be equity. There should be no discrimination. That demand is not constitutional. It is not right. It is not fair. Except it's made to cut across board. Because if you are just saying that a particular person, because he wants to offer himself to serve the masses, and he wants to come out as an individual candidate, he now has to deposit money, which he has the risk of losing if he does not get.
But wouldn't there be a way to regulate the number of people? You can imagine independent candidates. You could imagine up to 2,000 persons coming out to contest for the position.
No. The issue is very simple. Because it is not a floodgate for everybody to. You see, there must be qualification. There must be basic qualifications. Understand? So that is the guideline that INEC has come up with. We know that the propensity for people that are just going there just for their name to hide may be there. So there has to be a way to regulate it, to provide a guideline. If you are seeking for social office as a private individual, as a private candidate, these are the qualifications, these are the conditions, and these are the conditions. And once you meet those conditions, then you go. And of course,
because even in the US where we have private candidates, there's also some guidelines.
Yes.
Of course, we know that there is one of the RF Kennedy who wanted to contest. He needed to secure a number of electorate who stand. There's some guidelines that have been provided, which is not also easy to really comply with before you can be listed in the ballot.
You see, there's nothing that is that easy, so to say, in politics, in governance. Yeah, now, if an individual, yes, if an individual part of the guideline, okay, for you to be accepted, you need to get signatures of a certain number of people who are your supporters, then to endorse. There's nothing wrong with that, because if what is going on the platform of a political party, the assumption is that the members of the political party are behind that person that's supporting him or her. So if an individual, you are asked to get a number of people to endorse you, to say yes, we support this person in a form, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, but to now say that you go and deposit money, and if you don't get a certain number of votes, you lose your money. No.
All right. That would be unconstitutional. We'll go on a very short break, and then we'll return. I will look at the second topic for today. Stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly.